So I hope you had been paying attention. Like I had said, market was holding below that 24.5 level. And like I said in my previous video, the market had been moving sideways for the better part of several weeks. You can see that right here. The market basically moving sideways between 24.5, and we finally got a little bit of a gap up. We got a gap up. The market continued to rise on the way up. Now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, I guess because Trump is out here talking about he wants to regulate the internet, etc., and yada yada yada. Doesn't matter. What we do know is that the market finally broke out of that little channel that we had. We're moving sideways, despite the fact that we're still pulling numerous cases of coronavirus. Right, so we're still on that 20,000 a day grind, working our way towards that 2 million. We'll probably hit 2 million probably in the middle of next month at the rate that we're looking, and we're still got a pretty high death rate of 5.8%. And of course, we're not testing as much. I was sick over the past couple of weeks, and of course went to get tested. I had an appointment, come in on Saturday. Turns out they're closed. They're closed on the weekend. It was, the holiday weekend, so they were closed Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and they opened back up on Tuesday. So we see a little bit less testing going on, at least where I'm at in New York City. So a lot of these places that do testing, all these hospitals that maybe have like a clinic, or maybe they got a tent outside somewhere, over the weekend a lot of these things are closed. And so people who want to get tested, the only way you're really going to get tested is if you go through the ER. And a lot of people aren't looking to go through the ER if they're having just like mild, very mild symptoms, which is what I had. I had mild symptoms of low-grade fever, a lot of fatigue, a little bit of shortness of breath, but that was typically, I noticed it like if I had to run for the bus and I would just get like extremely short of breath, that it would take minutes for me to catch my breath. I literally, when I was on my way to get tested, I was thinking, is it my imagination? Am I getting short of breath? And it's like, maybe I'm just like getting out of shape because I'm like 10-15 pounds overweight. So I literally just ran maybe just a little over 100 feet from off the curb to run across the street, and I was short of breath for the better part of like almost three NYC blocks, which is like about a good 5 minutes for just running for like less than 15 seconds. So after speaking with the doctor, they were like, you may have had it and wanted to get tested, but unfortunately we're closed over the weekends. And then by the time Tuesday rolled around, I was feeling much better, paying attention to what's going on in the market. And so like I said, we see the market is now above the breakout. For a while the market was holding below where we kind of double bottomed right here. We see a retest. We see the market here try to retest that 25k mark, and then where it sold off. And now we're seeing the market is kind of doing that exact same thing again right here, where we're pulling back off those 25k. So we broke out above the 25k, and now we're seeing the market maybe working its way, trying to retest that 24.5, that 24.7, to see if that area is actually going to be an area of resistance. So we may see the market pull back to 25, could see the market pull all the way back to as far as like 25.6, 25.7, and maybe work our way back up. So where is the market going towards the upside? 27k. All right, that's what the market is pushing for. The market is going to continue to rally. Our next stop is going to be 27k. Looking back on the daily, you can see that the market for the better part of 3 years, right? You can see that right about here, from 2000, let's say like it was January of 2018 all the way into 19, and we finally broke out in November of 19, where the market finally kind of broke out above that 27k. So we can see for a couple of years the market was holding below that 27k, and that's basically where the market is shooting for right now. Looking at the M1 portfolio, finally showing a little signs of life. I was actually finally in the green, having had placed a lot of it before the market Peter Panned. Had about 3,500 in here before the market took a nosedive. So a lot of the stock values were very high, but even though the market is reaching for the highs, many stocks are not. at least some of the ones that I had put some money into. I am selling some positions this morning, and of course it's going to end up buying a couple of positions. I may or may not halt that. So I'm getting rid of Ford. I am down a couple of bucks in Ford. Where are we? Looking at the holdings. Just because it was originally in my dividend portion of my portfolio, and then of course they cut. Actually, okay, so I'm basically flat in the position. So I'm going to take this 170 out, along with taking profits in Axle. So Axle, I'm up, I guess about 80% or 60 bucks out of whatever I put in. You can see Axle moved up quite a bit, so we're long here at 4, hopefully dumping at 7, so that's fine. So I'm going to take that money out and then redistribute that money into my portfolio. It's more, all of it is going to go back into my dividend portfolio. I took Ford out because they're not paying a dividend, and then of course I'm going to be getting rid of. I'm just holding these two currently. I want to see if they do. I'm not sure how much AAL will move up. Looking at over the short period, I'm just trying to see if we're going to re-push for those 12s. I probably should get out of it because it's holding below 12s, as you can see. And I don't like the trend, right? A lot of other airlines are kind of like based and then going up, and UAL looks like, and of course that was the overall trend. Oh, when you look at the overall trend in AAL, looking at it on the daily, see that prior to the coronavirus fall off, the trend was already towards the downside, and I know they're having problems with a lot of debt. And so I probably should have gotten a little bit lower down here originally. It was a nice triple bottom down here at $9. It could have easily earned a good 33% on your money. Same thing like I said about JetBlue, which I do like. Like I said, JetBlue, you can see double bottomed, retested, showing a little bit more sturdiness. And of course, like I said, I think I called out JetBlue around $8 when I said I had liked it for the portfolio. And I still like it, so I'll probably buy it on the pullback if JetBlue comes back to around 9. Then we'll add a couple $100 more to JetBlue. I do like JetBlue, and I do like UAL. Delta is okay, but some of these are a little more expensive. Delta also looking, I'm not really fond of the way the chart looks. It's very choppy. JetBlue looks a little bit more stable to me with that double bottom here and then a retest. Any event. Looking at the portfolio, so we are at just about that 9,000 invested, just shy of the 9K, just shy of the 9K invested. So looking forward to hitting that 10K mark, probably the first week or two of what are we in, June. So that'll be a nice milestone for the portfolio. So those things I'm doing currently for my there's my dividend portfolio. So just cleaning up the dividend portfolio, kind of taking some stocks. I know Ladder did decrease their overall dividend, but I still like it. Still got in a little bit too early, and of course CCL. I was almost positive, and CCL had a hard pullback. CCL had a hard pullback. I was like just getting to that positive. I should have dumped it there at like hit almost 18 right here. Where were we at? 17. I can't see that on the highs. I think this is pre-market. I think pre-market, yeah, pre-market we were at 18. And I was like, ooh, maybe I should dump it, because we were looking like we were hitting a triple top. We were looking like we were hitting a triple top, and then the market pulled back. So I may put a little bit more into CCL if it comes down to maybe like, you know, like around 14, between 14 and 12. Especially because we're seeing more states are opening up. And I know Carnival Cruise is set for an August 1st reopen, where they're basically restarting up their cruise lines. And if you've been paying attention to the news, as many people who are like sensible investors and are thinking, who is going to be going out on cruises at this time? Who's going to be going on airplanes? If you've been paying attention to the average American, they're literally like rioting on the streets to get back to normal. People are immediately, you know, going to beaches, crowding up these beaches, not even trying to socially distance, especially in many of the warmer parts of the country, especially here in New York. They've created like these little circles at the parks to kind of get people to socially distance. They're handing out masks. Police officers are handing out masks to passerbys here in the park, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing in other areas. So I am more than confident that there will be plenty of the not so cautious individuals who will be like, yeah, let's get on a cruise, etc. Let's get back to the ball games. It is what it is. When you're, the great thing about America is that is the freedom, but then the other thing is that since you're free, now you got to be responsible for yourself. We're seeing Carnival Cruise a little bit of a pullback, but I'm sure we'll see that re-rally. Foot Locker also pulled its dividend, which is okay. I will still hold it. I do like Foot Locker. I do like Foot Locker is definitely looking like it's trending up, and of course, as the country is opening up, I think that they would do well over the next couple of quarters, despite because kids got to have their sneakers. I can't tell you how many of these kids are walking around with multiple pairs of sneakers. I'm lucky if I got one pair that works real well. But in any event, this is basically my little bit of an update. I said I would do an update once we broke out, and we have officially broken out of that little bit of a channel that we were in from 23 to that 24.5. The market looking like it wants to retest that 27K, and I wouldn't want to be the guy that misses out on that nice little bit of move. That nice little bit of a move. It's going to be about 10% or so to the upside. So a lot of stocks are going to be making move. Pay attention to what's pulling back. Retail, of course. Stocks like AEO looking a little better. If you had bought it on the lows, it looks like it's pulling back. I know retailers have been hit. Retailers are between retail and airlines are the bigger laggards. So if you're looking for maybe a little bit of a value play, you're looking to scalp maybe 20-30%, I would pay attention to some of these stocks that are a little bit still beaten down, but that are going to benefit. As you can see, if you had been a buyer of the gap, it had bounced multiple times here at $7. I am long in the M1. If you had been buying here, you could have easily taken 50% on about 40% on your money, because it literally hit almost $11, right? We went from the comfortable position of 7. Maybe you weren't willing to catch it down here at 5 and change, but you could have easily gotten in at 7 and then gotten out at least at 10. Would have been a nice little move for the portfolio. But trying to stick to that 1K a month. We're definitely on track. Coming into our 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in our 5th month. Going to be coming into our 6th month, and we're going to be hitting that 10K invested. And then I'm going to finish adding the rest of the. I got about another $700 that I got to put into my IRA portfolio. And that one's doing fairly well as well. Of course, some of the prices I got here were obviously a little bit better since most of the money went in during the downtrend. With that said, thanks for watching. I'll do another one at the 10K mark, which will probably be like in the next, say, about 2 weeks. And I'm probably going to hopefully clear up some of these stocks. We'll see how retail does over the next couple of weeks. Looking to see if I'm going to add some more, either to Gap. I'm holding ANF. I think I may sell one of these, as I'm in AEO, GPS, as well as ANF, and I'm looking to get out of one of them. I really don't think they're all going to do that well. I think some of the retails will struggle, and then some will do very well. And of course, I'm also in Foot Locker, which is also another retail stock. And then another one that I may get out of is GEO. I'm debating on that one, just basically trying to clean up the portfolio for things that are maybe lagging a little too hard for my taste. And that's basically it. Thanks for watching. And we'll recap the M1 portfolio again at the 10K mark. Thanks for watching. Take care.